Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining me today. We will begin in just a few minutes, or not even minutes, in a few seconds. I'm excited to see that people are already saying hello, and looks like we have a nice little representation. We have people Alberta, Newfoundland, some Ontario. This is great. So a few logistic things before we get started. If you feel like your screen is choppy, if the video gets a little choppy, if it's buffering a lot, it might be because you have too many tabs open. So if you have other tabs open, just close those guys and then you can give me 100% of your concentration. I promise you this will be very exciting and worth your while. Also, you can just try refreshing your screen. Sometimes that's all it takes. Finally, if you feel like your screen of the video looks a little blurry, there's a little gear icon in the bottom right corner, and that's a settings. Click on that little gear icon and change the setting to high quality. I think the number is 720, and then that'll make everything look nice and crisp and a lot easier to view. Okay, so I can see a few people have already figured out how to use the chat. That's fabulous. Now, what we're going to do today is I'll be doing the presentation. Please put your questions in the chat. I will let you know I most likely will not get to the questions while I'm presenting, but I will get to your questions at the end. I like to wait till the end because sometimes I might cover this stuff anyways while I'm doing the presentation. So I find it's best for me to wait until the end to address any questions, but as soon as they pop into your head, put them down, and that way you won't forget what you're going to ask. Okay. So, well, why are we here? Oh, first of all, my name is Stephanie, for those of you who don't know me, and I'm the coordinator with Royal LePage's Learning Services. I'm often the one that hosts these Building Your Tech Toolkit webinars. And today we will be talking about Google Docs. And, we're going to talk about how Google Docs is great to easily share information. Okay, so before we get into the presentation itself, I just want to remind you that we have this great customer care team, and they're here to help you with all of our Royal LePage's tools and services, including your Google account. Google Docs is part of your Google account, and as such, it is accessible with the same username and password. So that's the same username and password that you use to get into your @royallepage.ca email. If you don't know what your username and password are, or you've forgotten that information, get in touch with customer care and they'll help you with logging in. Okay. So what are we going to look at in this hour? Well, here's a little overview. I'm going to talk about some of the benefits and why you would want to use Docs. Then obviously I'm going to get into how to use Docs. I'm not going to get into every single little detail of Docs because if I did that, we'd probably be here for days, and we definitely don't have time for that. We're busy people. So I'm going to go over some sort of high-level things that I think are important and different with Docs. Then I'm going to talk about collaborating, then sharing, how to upload and export, and then we'll finish it off with a few other cool things about Docs that are out there. So, what are the benefits of Docs? Well, it's free, unlike Word. Free is always good. I always like a way to save money. It is secure. So, your Google account that you have, we have this extra feature called a two-step verification, and this is for your safety and for your clients and anybody that you're sharing information with. So I strongly encourage you to enable the Google two-step verification. That is something that our customer care team can also help you with. One of my favorite things about Docs is the instant saving. It constantly saves your work. So you never have to worry about forgetting to push that save button. You never have to worry about losing a USB key. Now, some people I've chatted with, and I mentioned this instant saving thing, And they go, yeah, but what if I want to undo stuff? Well, you can easily undo changes, and I will show you how to do that. Another great thing about Docs, and something that we use at our office here a lot, is to collaborate. So most of this webinar, well, a lot of this webinar is going to focus on how to share and how to collaborate using Google Docs. Now, one thing people may not realize is Google does not count Docs files towards your allotted space on Drive. We all have 30 gigabytes for our Drive accounts, which is pretty big, but after a couple of years, it could get full. But your Docs do not take up any Drive space. So that is super amazing. This is fabulous. And I will show you later how to check how much space is taken up in your Drive account in general. So that when I do that, I'll show you mine, and I'll show you what things are taking up space and what things aren't. Another great thing is it's accessible by anyone. So anybody with the internet can view links. So you don't have to worry about sending a document to somebody, a client, for example, that is maybe in a Word format, but they don't have Word on their computer. Or same with Adobe Acrobat. You're sending a PDF and then somebody goes, well, I can't open it because I don't have the right software in my computer. You don't have to worry about that with Google Docs, because if someone has the internet, they can click on the link and open it up. And like all Google apps, it's accessible from any device. So your smartphone, your desktop, your laptop, and it always syncs. And finally, my other thing that I love about Google Docs is it's organizable and searchable. And that is something I'm also going to be showing you. Okay. Now, let's get started, and let me show you, well, where do you find Docs? So I'm going to exit my presentation now, and I think from here on, I'm going to be right in Docs. So I have a new tab here. When you open a new tab and you log into Google, I suggest that you use Google Chrome. You can find Docs a few different ways. You can find Docs with your Google apps up here in the upper right-hand corner. And this is where all your Google apps are. You can see your mail, calendar, etc. And then there's Docs right here, this blue guy. Now, if you don't feel like going for that little apps thing, you can also just type docs.google.com and then enter. And this is going to bring you to the Docs homepage. So why would you want to use Docs? Well, there's a few neat things that are in here. There's some templates. If you're looking for ideas, you could have a look at the template gallery, and you can find that right up here. And there's some neat things. There's project proposals. I really like some of the newsletters. And then there's also some business letters and resumes, that kind of thing. So that's pretty nice to have. But I think the most beneficial thing to use Docs for is, as I mentioned before, sharing links and collaboration. Okay, so I am going to show you now. Okay. First of all, I want to show you how to check your space, because before you get started, you're probably wondering, okay, Stephanie said these Docs don't take up any space. How do I know how much storage space I have in my Drive account? So Drive, like Docs and the other apps, is accessible from the little Google Apps thing, and it's also accessible by typing in drive.google.com. So let me just show you what I mean about how Docs does not take up any space in your Drive account. And now my internet is being weird, so it's not loading properly, but it's well, you can see a few of my things here. I don't know why everything's not showing up, but that's fine. So you can see here these 3 items that I have in file size. It's nothing. It's not taking up any space in my drive. And this is amazing. So if you ever wonder about your own account, how much space you've taken up, just go to drive.google.com. You'll see your list of everything that you have, the file size, and your overall stuff is going to be right here. Okay? Okay, enough with the logistics. Let's get into how do we use this guy. So I'm closing this. I'm going to my Docs homepage. Now, the first thing I want to show you that's really cool is the searching and organizing. You know, my Docs is a little disorganized. I don't really have stuff that's put together in any kind of orderly way that I would normally do on a computer, but that is fine because I can just search for stuff in Docs easily. So for example, if I type in webinar up here in this little search box, and then I click enter, I will find everything that I have done in not only my Docs, actually, it'll show everything in all my drive that says webinar in the title. So this is really, really helpful. You know, if you have items perhaps about listings, you could type in the address in the search and it will help pull up the address. It's going to find everything. It doesn't even have to be in the title. If it's mentioned a few times within the document, it will pull up as well, but it'll just be a little lower down here. So the searching is fabulous. Okay, so I have a document here that I've started that I'm going to be using to demonstrate some of the key things that I think are important for you to know about how to use Docs. Now, first of all, I'm gonna tell you right off the bat, because it is very similar to Word, I'm not going to be going through some basics like formatting, you know, changing the font, underlining, things like that. Because I'm assuming that you know how to do this. I'm just going to take a little pause for a second, and I see someone's mentioning that the screen looks blurry. And I just want to remind you, if your screen looks blurry, go in the little gear icon in the bottom right corner of the YouTube video and click on that. You'll see some numbers there for quality. Change it to 720. That'll make your screen nice and crisp. Okay. So what's some important things with Docs to do? Okay, well, the first thing is I want to talk about this really fabulous insert section here. So let me show you some cool stuff that I can do with insert, with image. Now, this isn't the same as just image in Word. It's much more robust. So I'm going to click insert and image. Now, first of all, I can upload something from my computer if I like. I can take a snapshot. I can do a selfie of myself right now if I want. My computer, my internet is not being happy with me, and this is not. Okay, sorry about that. So image, I can do it by URL. So if I have an image URL, that's the web address, I can plop it in right there. I have my albums here. So I have all kinds of stuff that was uploaded into my drive. And then I have everything in my drive that was shared with me. And I have so many choices for inserting images. Now, I want to show you a really cool one that, well, here, I'll just show you quickly how I can insert an image. So I'm going to do the Toronto skyline because that's my hometown here. So here I can insert an image, and if I want, I can move it around and align it and do some different formatting. That's pretty easy. I can insert a link within my document. So let's say, for example, I would like to link my title, or I'll say here, look at my website for listings, because I just wrote a lovely letter to my client, and I'm gonna make this bigger so you guys can see it a little bit better. Okay, So if I would like to insert a link, I choose my selected text, highlight it. I go to here, insert link. I find my link that I want. So I'm going to use roylepage.ca. Copy that. And now I drop it in here and apply. And now when people click on that, it will open roylepage.ca. Now you can link this to your site. You can link it to a specific listing. You might even want to link it to perhaps recommendations that you have for other businesses. Perhaps you want to tell people about contractors that you're recommending. And you say, well, have a look at my contractor's website. Here he is. He's great for renovations. So this is how we insert a link. You highlight your text, you click the link button, and you insert the web address. Now, I showed you how to insert a photo, but another thing that's even cooler is the drawing. So when I go insert and then I choose drawing, you can do a few different drawing things in here. You can do just shapes and things like that. But I think what will be of most interest to you is you can add an image to a drawing. So I'm going to do one that I have of this home. And I'll show you what I mean by this. So here's this lovely home. And let's say I would like to draw attention to, my window over here. So I will be choosing a line and an arrow, and I'm dragging it here. Now, if I'd like to make this arrow a little thicker, I'm going to choose line weight. If I want to change the color of it, I can do that. And perhaps I would like to add in a little text box saying, newly upgraded windows. Different things like that. So this is a really, really cool thing that you can do. You can add in, like I said, you can add in circles if maybe, or various shapes, depending on your wants. So maybe I want to circle this and I would like to have it transparent. And for some reason, I want to draw attention to this. I want to tell people, this can be easily removed. I can add in a little text box there. You can do all kinds of neat little things on photos. And I think this is an extremely useful tool for you guys to use with your different communications with your clients. So I've made my edits that I want to do on this photo, and I'm going to be clicking Save and Close. And now you see here's my photo in here within my document with my arrows and my circle and my text. Okay, so that is a pretty neat feature. Now, what else can I insert in here that I think is pretty useful and fun? I think charts are something you might want to use. So you can choose different kinds of charts, and you can also get one directly from Sheets if you have information in Sheets. But let's say you don't, and I'm going to show you a pie chart. So I clicked on pie chart, and here, this is just a little template. So when I want to change this, I click on this guy, and I'm going to say Open in Sheets. And this is opening up my different info. And now what I can do is I can change this. So I can edit, and I click on that guy, open it up. Now I can edit my title. So I can say homes sold over asking. Okay, and then enter. And I am going to go over into my chart here, and I'm going to say me, my competition. Now I'm gonna hope that you're gonna have something a little bit better, but this is just a little demo. Erasing this guy, erasing this guy. Okay, and you know what? I sell 80% of my homes over selling. My competition only sells 20% over asking. Look at that. So these edits that I did in here, I'm going to click update on my chart, and here it is, my fabulous little chart. So I think, the charts are something that you can really take advantage of. You can do different stats, what homes are selling for, time on the market, listed, how long it's been listed versus how long it takes to sell. Use your imagination. But you can do all this stuff, and it's so easy to just insert, choose a chart, drop it in, and then you can edit it. Okay. Other things that you can insert that are pretty standard, you can do a table. So this isn't any different than Word. You choose how big of a table that you want in, you drop it in there, and here you are. So that's pretty easy. Now, as I mentioned before, everything saves automatically. So what if I say to myself, oh my goodness, look at all this stuff that I just dropped in here. I don't really want any of this stuff. I want to get rid of all of it. So I could do this little backwards button, and I can undo stuff, and that's pretty good. So that, that gets rid of everything. But I could also have gone into File and clicked See Revision History. So if I click on that, you can see I've done a lot of different things on this guy. And you can see I actually shared it with the Learning Services account. And if I click over here, I can see that yesterday, the Learning Services account made some changes to this as well. So I can go over here and I can see, oh, look, I was practicing with this. Yesterday, they inserted that chart as well. If, let's say, I go, you know what, I really like this version, and obviously I'm going to go through it all, make sure that I like it. But let's say I go, you know what, I like this one. I would like to restore this version. I can click this button. It's going to give me a little warning, and I can say restore. So this is really helpful. If you find that you've done some edits and you did way too many to do the backwards button, you can restore previous versions. This is also extremely helpful when you are working with somebody else. You are collaborating in a doc, and perhaps you would like to check and see what they have added to this. You can go through your revision history, which is, once again, I'll tell you, it's accessible through File, See Revision History, and you can have a look and see what your collaborators have added to this. Okay. I am getting rid of that because I don't want that there anymore. And I'm also removing that guy. Okay. And you go back down. Okay. So a few other really important things are bookmarks. So if you don't know what a bookmark is in a document, they're basically internal links within your document. So what does that mean, and why would you want to use that? So if you have a really long document and you're saying something, for example, well, as discussed in section 3, you can add a bookmark here and people will jump right to it. So I don't know if you're recognizing this document that I have here in my doc, but this is part of the Smart Studio tips. So, we've been sending out these communications to people, letting them know different things to do in Smart Studio. So I have here week number 1. Now in week number 2, I make some references to week 1. So I could say, now that you have your contacts in the system, so here I'm going to click here, and sorry. So the first thing you have to do is decide where you want people to start and where you want them to end. And this is the part that's a little tricky with bookmarks. You have to pick your end destination first. So I have this part where it says, now that you have your contacts in the system. And I want that to bring people up to how to set up your contacts. So here, I'm going to bring my little cursor here. I'm clicking insert a bookmark. Now what that does is it just puts a little a bookmark there. Now I'm going to go back down here. Now that you have your contacts in the system, I highlight this. I'm clicking insert link like I showed you before, but instead of an external link, I'm clicking to bookmarks, and that's the only one that I have. If I had more than one, they would all be listed here, but I'm selecting this one and now apply. So now what happens is when someone's reading this and they see here, now that you have your contacts in the system, if they click there, it'll bring them back to item number 1 saying, okay, here's how you do the contacts. So as I mentioned before, this is a really useful tool if you have a long document that's referring to other parts of the document. And that is why you would want to use bookmarks. Okay, now I showed you how to do links, so that's great. Okay, a page break. So a page break is when you will be moving your information to a new page. So for example, maybe I feel like this page is too full and I would like my action items to be pushed to the next page. Instead of just clicking enter a bunch of times, I can click insert and then page break, and that moved that right to the next page. So that is another really handy item. If you found that you've been typing and typing and typing, and then all of a sudden you go, oh man, I want to break that up into more digestible pieces per page, you just put a page break in there instead of pushing enter a bunch of times until it gets to the next page. Okay, I'm undoing this because I don't want that. Oh, here is something that you will love. And this is how to insert a table of contents, which is another really, really useful thing for when you have a long document. So that's why I used this one, because this is our Smart Studio 9-week training program. So it has 10 pages. You know, it's a lengthy document. And, you know, I want to make a table of content. So I'm just going to click my cursor here, and I'm going, and because this is where I would like my table of contents to be, I click insert and table of contents. Now I can choose if I would like it with page numbers or if I would like it with blue links. I personally like the blue links, but it's just a matter of preference. Blue links will bring them directly there. So I click this and I have this amazing little table of contents. So what it did was it pulled the title, and I'll show you what I mean. Week 1, how to set up your CRM. Week 2, how to categorize, etc., etc. So it pulled those titles, and now if people want to get to, let's say, week 6, they click, and it brings them right there. So to ensure, if you want to make a table of contents, you have to make sure that you have a title at the top of your pages, because that is what will be used by Google Docs to determine what will be included in the list of the table of contents. Super, super helpful and easy. Okay. Now, what else can we do? Well, we can upload stuff. So if I click here, and in Docs, it's not called upload, it's called open. So I can click open, and here I can find things from my drive. I can find things from my computer. I can find things that were shared with me. And, you know, I can easily just drop in items from my computer. But what is really, really useful is uploading PDFs. So what I'm going to do is I'm opening a fresh doc. So I'm here at Docs. I'm just going to go back to Docs Home. I'm opening a blank doc. Now, the reason I want to show you this upload PDF is, you know, a while ago, an agent got in touch with me and he said, you know, Stephanie, I really like Smart Studio, but I don't like how I can't attach a PDF to the email blasts. What can I do about this? I have a newsletter that I would really want to share with people, but I can't put it as an attachment in Smart Studio. And so I talked him through it, and I said, well, there's a really easy workaround. We go to Docs, we open a blank doc. Now you have to make sure that your newsletter or whatever it is that you have is saved to your computer. You have your blank doc, and then you go File, and you go Open. I will be uploading, and I have my Genworth Spring Digest. I'm going to click Open this guy. And I'm just going to take a second because I'm not sure. I'm like in an internet dead zone. Everything seems to be slow for me today. But once it uploads, I will be able to share this item. Okay, what is this? Let me try this one more time. Sorry, people, working in real time with real technology. Let's try this one instead. Maybe the other guy is just being temperamental for some reason. And that one looks like it's almost there. So yeah, so you can take a PDF, you can upload it, and then you can share that item easily if your internet isn't awful like mine. Okay. I'm sorry, people. I don't know why it doesn't want to do that. I did my little demo earlier, and everything worked well. And now I'm in a different room, and my internet just doesn't want to work in all the ways that I want it to. So let's just try one final time. And oh goodness. Okay, there's a problem there. But I hope that doesn't discourage you from trying, but you get the idea. You're going to open a blank one, and then you're going to click Upload. And what that will do is it will turn it into a Google Doc. Actually, I think I have one in my drive that I did earlier, if this is going to be helpful. There we go. Okay, so here it is. So I uploaded it earlier, and this worked well. So I'm not sure what was happening just now, but so this was the Genworth. We had this one emailed to us not too long ago. So let's say I want to share this with people, but I can't, for some reason, I can't do an attachment. I've opened this in my doc, and then I click here, and I will be doing share. And you can share it as a link. So I'll get into that sharing in a bit, but what I really wanted to demonstrate is that, even PDFs can be used in docs, and this is a great workaround and a great way to be able to share items. And what you can do is add it as a link. So you can say to people, well, here, I'll just show you right now. I don't need to wait. I'll click here, get shareable link. Click on that. Here's my link, so I'm copying it. Now I'm putting it in my letter that I'm sending to my client. Read the Genworth newsletter here. I can highlight here, click on the insert link. I'm dropping that link in that I just copied, click apply. Now here, if I want to double check it, I can open, and it's still just being problematic for me. That's very odd, but I promise you it works. I don't know why my internet is doing weird things. Okay. Now, other cool things that you can do in here is in File, you can download ads. So maybe for some reason you really do want to download it as a Microsoft Word document. You like to have a backup, or maybe someone told you, well, I only accept Word documents, but you've been doing all this work in Docs. That's fine. You can always download it as Microsoft Word, and it'll save as Word. You can also download it in different formats. I once took a class where everything had to be submitted as a rich text format. So this is easy. You can download your items as a PDF, lots of different ways. So using docs it's really, really versatile. There's a lot that you can do with it. And this is just a brief overview of, the things that I think are important and unique. So mostly it's the insert. The insert tab is unique to docs. There's a lot of stuff in here that you can't find in Word, especially the linking, the images, and I forgot to show you with the images, you can do a Google search. So this is great because maybe you want to do a Google search for homes. I can just type it in and search there. So I don't have to open up a new tab and copy and paste. I can just Google search right here. I can pick one that I like and go select, and it will drop it right in there as well. So that is also extremely handy. Okay. So I mentioned a little bit about collaborating with docs. So what kind of collaborating can you do and why and how? Well, you can collaborate with your colleagues, or even if you have a client that is, really active and really wants to get in there and help with some of your items. And it happens in real time. So when you're collaborating on docs, if you've shared it with somebody and they start typing, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, you will see them writing in real time as it comes in. So that's pretty neat. Now, how do you share it with someone? Let's say I would like to share this item with somebody to collaborate. I click on this blue button, share. So first I'll talk about collaborating, then I'll talk about just view-only sharing. So I am going to share it with Stephanie Gelman. This is my personal email. And, there's a few different sharing levels. So here we see a pencil, and the pencil means that the person that I am sharing this with can edit. So they can do all the exact same editing stuff that I can do, all the stuff that I just showed you. They can do formatting, et cetera, et cetera. Now, perhaps I only want to allow them to comment. That means that if Stephanie makes any edits, it will be shown up as a suggestion, which means, well, here, I'm not going to tell you what it means. I will just, actually, I'm going to remove her. I'll show you. I've already shared this with Learning Services, so I'm going to change. Oh, and if you want to change their access, right now I've shared it with Learning Services. They can edit, but if I want to change it, I'm going to allow them to comment only and save. Now, whoa, I can see the screen that you guys see, and it's jumping all over the place. Now mine isn't, so I'm not sure what is happening there. That is very strange. We're having some weird technology issues today, people. I'm terribly sorry about that. My screen is not doing that. I'm just going to move away from that screen and see. I don't know what is going on here. I hope I'm not going to make anyone feel dizzy with this. Okay, let me see if I can just open this up. Okay, I think it looks okay now. Okay, so as I was saying, I changed Learning Services access to comment only. Now what that means is, and here, now I'm bringing it over, this is opened up in the Learning Services account, and here you can see what's called for that person for Learning Services is suggesting. So now if I want to do any edits, this is great. I am learning so much. You can see here that Learning Services is underlined in green, looks a little different. If, let's say, I'm going to delete that, well, it doesn't completely get rid of it. It shows a strike through. So now, when I go back into Stephanie Gelman's, I can see Learning Services suggested to add, this is great, I am learning so much, suggested to delete. Now I can accept the suggestion, That's great. I will keep that. But I'm going to reject this suggestion and click the X. So this is really, really useful when you are collaborating with people. If you don't want to give them full edit rights to change things, give them the comment only rights, and they will be, any edits they make will just be suggestions. And as you can see here, this little icon's here now showing me that Learning Services has opened the account. So I can see if I'm in the document, I can see who else is in it in real time. Okay, now that is how you share with people to do that's how you share with people to do the edits and such. But what if you just want to share with people and you don't want them to do any edits? You want them to only be able to read it. So that's what we're going to do with our clients, right? When we're sharing stuff with them. So we're going to click share. And as I briefly showed before, share as a link. So we're going to get this viewable view only link. Now, because you are with Royal LePage and you have a corporate account, it will by default say anyone at Royal LePage with the link can view. You want to change this because if you leave it as that, people have to be logged in with a Royal LePage account to view it. And that's great if you want to keep something internal, but we want to show stuff to our clients. So we're going to click this, go down to more, and you could do two choices I think are good ones. On, public on the web, anyone on the internet can find and access, or on, anyone on the web, anyone with the link can access. Now, personally, I think if you are doing something that is for a listing that you would like to advertise, then you would like to do public on the web. That way, there is a chance that it could come up in a Google search. If you're sharing something with just a client, then you want to do anyone with the link. Or if we even want to do more, we can go to cancel. We can put in their name. So I'm going to go back to this one here. And I am going to say she can view only. Now, if I want to add, and this will add a little email message. So, here is the document. Document, etc., etc., etc. And this will send an email to them, letting them know that we've shared this and that it's for them. Okay, so as I said, you can share it with people view only. You can share it with people to collaborate, but it's very, very important if you're sharing with your clients that you make sure that it's accessible to people public or anyone with the link. Because if you leave it with the Royal LePage stuff, only people signed in with a Royal LePage account will view it. And that is no good to share with your clients. Okay. Now, one thing I do need to warn you is when you are sharing a link like that, if you make any edits in your doc, those edits will be reflected in real time and people can see you doing the edits in real time. So a trick around that is to publish it to the web. So from File, we're going to go down here and we see this choice called Publish to the Web. And I'm clicking on it. And basically what that means is I can get a link for it. I can even embed this. So if I know how to embed things into my website, which is not too challenging, then I can choose Embed. I click Publish. I will say OK. And now I get this cool little computer script. I copy that, throw that in my website, and it would show this entire document in my website. So that is pretty cool. If I don't want to go that far and I just would like to share a link, I can use this link. I can directly share it through a few social medias and my email. But The reason I wanted to point out this publish to the web is it will not show any of your edits being done in real time. When you choose to publish your file to the web, a copy of the original file is made. Now, what's going to happen is the copy is the one that is published to the web, and you need to realize that everyone will be able to see it. It's viewable to the public, but the nice thing is you will keep your original file, and you can make your edits on this original file, and then once those are finished, or once you're done your edits in the original file, it will update it. So that means people are not going to be seeing you typing in real time if this is something that you were updating. But once you've finished it, then, well, we're going to go here, published contents and setting, in here, automatically republish when changes are made. So that way it gets refreshed with new content, but people aren't going to be seeing you typing in real time. Okay. So that's the difference between sharing as a link and publishing to the web. You're still sharing a link, but it's a different kind of link. What other reasons why would you want to share a link for a doc? Well, you can throw the link in anywhere. You can throw it into your website. You can throw it into your email signature. I love when I see beautiful email signatures from agents that have things like, have a look at my current listings. And they don't have a big, long, ugly web address there. It's just the words, have a look at my listings. And I click on those words, and then it brings me to stuff. So you can have in your email signature, have a look here to see my process of, the selling process with working with me. Have a look here to see the buying process if you work with me. You can do different things like that in docs and share those links. And also, as I mentioned, sharing the link with an email blast in Smart Studio. Because as I mentioned, that was one challenge that people have brought up to me. Why can't I do an attachment in the email blast in Smart Studio? And I don't know why. That's just how it's built, but I did figure out a workaround, and this is one of the great workarounds. Now, last but not least, I want to show you another great way to share, and this is email as an attachment. So once again, from File, and we will say Email as Attachment, and we click here, and now I can attach as a PDF. I can attach as a few different styles. My favorite one personally is the paste item into the email, especially if it's something small, because it looks really slick. So let me show you what I mean by it looks really slick. And so here's one that this is this item, and I shared this, I sent it to Learning Services, and this was the one where I chose to put it in the body of the email. So it's this entire document, and it's inside the email, because I have learned that people are kind of lazy, and even just clicking on a link sometimes, people say to themselves, I can't be bothered. But if the content is directly in their email, they can't help but see it when they open the email. So once again, that one is email as attachment, but then when it says attach as, paste the item itself into the email. And this looks beautiful. Now this one doesn't have any of the images because I didn't put images in it yet, but all of the content is right here in the body of the email. So this is so nice. People don't have to worry about clicking on anything. Okay. Where are we? Oh, good. We're coming up to the end, and that's perfect timing. So I'm just going to be bringing it to my last but not least other cool things about docs. Okay. Well, I'll bring it back over here, actually. So there's a thing called Keep Notepad. Now, I don't know if you joined us for our webinar last month about Keep, but that's another really neat little Google Doc that is all about taking notes, basically. but you can add stuff from Keep. So if you go into Tools, and then you will see Keep Notepad. We click here, and this is the stuff that I have in mine. So if I want to add something from it, I just click on it, click Done, and it will throw it in there. Or I can drag it over. Look at that. Beautiful. Okay. There's this other neat, I'll close that guy. There's this little star thing at the bottom right corner, and this is called Explore. So if I click on this, it'll open up the side thing. And what this will do is I can search Google or within my drive, and I can easily drop in info. So, if I just want to look up housing okay. And, if I want to throw in this info, sometimes you can throw it in as a quote. So I can go over here. I can throw it in as a footnote. So I can say, blah, blah, as said in this paper, etc. So here's my stats. And then I click cite as a footnote, and here it is. So that's really, really easy if you want to do little footnotes for your items. Sometimes you can go to images. Let's say I go, oh, this is a great image. If I want to see it bigger, I'm just going to pull it over here. And then look at this, the families in the Philippines. Okay, well, that's not exactly applicable, but you understand. You can grab stuff right from the internet and drag it over. Things from the web. This is great. I can find all different stats, whatever I need in here. There's this other really neat little tool up here, and it's called voice typing. If you're someone like me who does a lot of typing and who also has arthritis, you will love voice typing, because as long as you have a good headset, you can make it work. So I'll go right here and I'll show you. Now, there's a little bit of a delay in what I say and what you hear, but you will see that, well, you can't see that I'm not typing, but I'm just speaking, and it is writing down everything that I say. Okay, I just turned it off, but I just wanted to have that on there to show you what that works out like. So voice typing is really neat. It's very accurate. You need to tell it when to do a comma and a period. So that can be a little tricky if you're not used to that, but I love it. You just need to make sure you speak very clearly. There's another tool up here in the tools section, and this is Translate. And you can choose a lot of different languages, but I will warn you, don't use the translation unless you speak the language yourself. I speak French. I do a lot of work in French, and I have used this to translate a document from English into French because it's a lot easier than me retyping everything, but it does require proofreading. You cannot trust Google Translate 100%. So translation is a useful tool, but do not rely 100% on it. You need to be able to proofread. And then finally, if you're techie and you want to explore other stuff, you can go up here to add-ons, and you can check out all the different add-ons that are available. There's so many different things. I can't even start right now because that would be another whole talk. Okay, so last but not least, add docs to your phone. So now you can have it with you anywhere you go. I put the link to download the app in the description of the video, so you have access to it there. I will go over a little summary of what we looked at. So I talked about the benefits. The biggest ones for me, it's free, it's easy, it always saves. The links that you share are accessible by everybody, no matter what they have on their computer. So as long as they have the internet, they can use it. I talked about why using docs. Use docs to communicate with your clients, to share newsletters, to make your own content, and really personalize stuff. Use docs as shared links and throw those links in Smart Studio email blasts. Use docs to collaborate. And finally, check out all the other cool things that are in docs. Check out if you use the Keep add-on, or it's not an add-on, use the Keep notepad. And if you're someone like me that gets tired of typing all the time, then use the voice typing. It's fabulous. I really, really enjoy it. Want to remind you that we have a comprehensive library of past webinars on the RLP network. And you can find those under the training tab and under webinar training. Next month, I will be talking about Facebook and Facebook business pages specifically. So I suggest that you sign up for that one, because then the month after that, we actually have one of our agents will be our guest speaker, because he has mastered Facebook for business. So next month, I'm going to talk about how to set it up. And then the following month, we have a guest speaker who's going to tell you, he's going to share his success and give you some tips. Okay, and I see some questions coming in, so don't worry, I'm going to get to those guys in a second. Okay, so you can find us at royallepage.ca/training as well, and on YouTube. And okay, so if you have a long question, you can send it to learningservices@royallepage.ca. But I'm going to exit this presentation and get back into docs so I can answer some of these questions. And now let you know, like I don't know 100% of everything. So I'll be honest, if I don't know an answer, I will let you know that I don't know the answer, but I think I got them all. Okay, so we have Jennifer who says, how come my voice typing is not highlighted so I can't use it? Well, when you need to make sure, number one, that you have a headset plugged in. It won't work just if you're just talking to your computer. So you need to ensure that you have a headset plugged into your computer. And then we go tools and voice typing. And if it's not, when it's black, it means it's not turned on. So when I click on it, then it will go red, and now it is working. And to turn it off, I click back on it and it is off. Okay. Now, how is speak in French from Denise? Denise, are you referring to voice typing? I mean, we could try right now. I honestly haven't tried it yet. So, bonjour, comment ça va? Ça va bien? Yeah, no, that totally does not work. Although that's kind of funny. Bones Jewel, Salva Suburbia. Okay, so, but I see here we can change the language. So let's see if the voice typing will work in français. Bonjour, comment ça va? Okay, c'est bien. Okay, so it looks like it works well in French. So Denise, if that's what you were asking about, does the voice typing work in French? It certainly does. You just need to make sure that that you choose your language. And according to this, it has a lot of different languages that you can choose from. So, if you speak other languages, play around with the voice typing. Okay. People are enjoying the Bones Jewel, right? Okay. Roger asks, can we do labels and mass mailing? No, unfortunately, that is one thing that I will admit that Word does have better than Docs. There is no mail merge function in this, unfortunately. So, for mail merges, then you're definitely going to be using you'd be using Word, or I suggest that you use Smart Studio. Okay, so some people are asking about exclamation marks with the voice typing, and yet with that, you have to tell it what to do. So here, I'll start up again, and you guys can laugh at this one. Hello, how are you? Exclamation mark. New line, because we have to tell it when to do a new line. Question period. Question period. Question mark. There we go. And see, we need to play with it a little bit to understand exactly what it needs to hear. Period. Okay, so Nilsson, with any of the different exclamation marks, commas, anything like that with voice typing, you have to tell it what to say. And there is some good information out there in Google. If you just type into a Google search, help with voice typing in Google Docs, you can actually find a document that'll tell you how to speak to it. So for example, how to tell it new paragraph, new line, new page. You can tell it to do all caps and that kind of thing. So you do have to say every single punctuation that you need, which can be, it can take a little while to get used to, but once you get the hang of it, as I learned here, we do not say question period, we say question mark. Okay, so I'm just looking to see if there are any other questions that are in there. I want to remind everyone, I think the best idea is just for you to get in, play around with docs, try some of the stuff that I talked about today. And then if you have any questions, you can get in touch with me or a member of my team at learningservices@royallepage.ca. And I'd really like to know if you've tried this and how it's working out. So I see we've gone 1 minute over time. I can't believe it. I'm sorry, guys. I tried to keep it brief, but there's so much to talk about. So I am going to sign off for now. But like I said, if you come up with other questions, get in touch with me, send me an email, and let me know. Let me know if you're doing the voice typing and how that's working out for you. But you have to speak very, very clearly. And I see a few people saying thank you, and this was fun, and this was great. And thank you guys too. I get so much energy when I do these presentations, and I enjoy sharing information with people. So thank you for being a wonderful audience.